Welcome to World Mission Topics, Lesson 12. I do not own the rights to this music. Today's topic is asking for a miracle. The lesson text is coming out of Joshua chapter 10, verses 1 through 15. The memory verse. And there was no day like that before it or after it, that the Lord hearkened unto the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel. And that's Joshua chapter 10, verse 14. The key terms for today's lesson: condescend, confederation, and suzerain, vassal, treaty. Condescend, to willingly lower oneself to another's level. Confederation, a union of countries with some or most political power vested in a central authority. Suzerain, vassal, treaty, a form of covenant established between a greater ruler, the suzerain, and a lesser party, the vassal. Some of the covenants between God and Israel were modeled as suzerain vassal treaties. The Mosaic Covenant. Suggested emphasis. When Gibeon established a covenant with Israel, it did not establish the notice of the surrounding Amorite cities. The king of Jebus, called Jerusalem here, heard of the Gibeonites' new alliance and contacted the rulers of 4 other cities to join forces with them. Come and help me destroy Gibeon, he urged them, for they have made peace with Joshua and the people of Israel. And that's Joshua chapter 10, verse 4. As this confederation of armies and kings assembled, God in heaven must have laughed. And that's Psalms chapter 2, verses 1 through 4. Because unknown to them, he was using these events to accomplish his own purposes. Instead of having to defeat these 5 city-states one by one, he would help Joshua conquer them all at one time, just as God used the defeat at Ai to form a battle plan for victory over Ai. And that's Joshua chapter 8. So also he used Joshua's mistake with the Gibeonites to protect Gibeon and accelerate the conquest of Canaan. Emphasis 1. An urgent cry for help. The men of Gibeon quickly sent messengers to Joshua at his camp in Gilgal. Don't abandon your servants now, they pleaded. Come at once, save us, help us, for all the Amorite kings who live in the hill country have joined forces to attack us. And that's Joshua chapter 10, verse 6. The urgent request from the Gibeonites could have been perceived different ways by Joshua. He could have chosen to see this circumstance as simply enemy nations devouring one another, or rather than being just indifferent, he could have been jubilant that Gibeon, which he couldn't destroy because he had been tricked into covenanting with them, would be destroyed by other nations. Instead, Joshua saw this as a matter of covenant. Because of the treaty between the 2 nations, Israel, as suzerain, had to protect Gibeon as vassal. So Joshua and his entire army, including his best warriors, left Gilgal and set out for Gibeon. Do not be afraid of them, the Lord said to Joshua, for I have given you victory over them. Not a single one of them will be able to stand up to you. Joshua traveled all night from Gilgal and took the Amorite armies by surprise. And that's Joshua chapter 10, verses 7 through 9. The general understood the urgency of this matter. He and his warriors set out immediately, and God confirmed to Joshua's heart that his mission was righteous because he assured him of victory. Moreover, he empowered the army to traverse a 3-day journey in one night, and that's Joshua chapter 9, verse 17. Emphasis 2. The prayer for a miracle. The prompt response of the Israelites took the enemy forces by surprise and threw them into disarray. The Israelites chased their adversaries into a retreat, and even as they tried to escape, God cast down huge hailstones that did more damage than the Israelites' swords. And that's Joshua chapter 10, verse 11. We then come to the focal point of the passage. Enjoying such success as his forces were, Joshua hated to see the light fade because darkness would unavoidably suspend to the battle. He prayed to God to extend the daylight so they could complete a total rout of the Amorites. The writer observes that there has not been a day like that before or since when Yahweh listened to the voice of a man, for Yahweh fought for Israel. That day was unique, not for some unusual daylight or darkness, but because Yahweh listened to a man's prayer. We are still amazed that God condescends to entertain our petitions. We're still amazed that the effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. And that's James chapter 5, verse 16. Ought we not catch our breath to think that the God who is seated on high stoops down and bends his ear to the lips of dust and ashes? That's found in Psalms 113, verse 5. When he calls to me, I will answer him. Whoever heard of a God like that? Emphasis 3. Exercising audacious faith. Believers living abundant lives understand that they will sometimes have to exercise audacious faith. Sometimes the appropriate prayer is one for miraculous deliverance. We must not shrink back in fear, refusing to chance asking for something really big. We need to develop a holy boldness in our prayer life. Elijah was a human as we are, and yet when he prayed earnestly that no rain would fall, none fell for 3.5 years. And that's James chapter 5, verse 17. God does not show favoritism. If you will answer the miraculous prayers of Joshua and Elijah, he will answer ours as well. We have a promise, and all things whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing ye shall receive. And that's Matthew chapter 21, verse 22. It is time we step out in faith. Missions application questions. Number 1. Why were the Amorites intimidated by Gibeon's covenant with Israel? Number 2. How did Joshua respond to the cry for help from the Gibeonites? Number 3. What motivated the narrator's description of the day of the battle? There was no day like that before it or after it. Number 4. Why do some believers feel it is difficult to pray for miracles? World Missions Prayer Points. Let us pray for the fortitude to remain faithful to our covenant partners. Let us pray that God frustrates every wicked alliance people make against us. And let us pray for the faith to ask the Lord for miraculous deliverances. The end. God bless you and thank you for joining me today.